What's going on, everybody, and how are you doing? Today I have a little quick time-lapsed video of how I built this area for all of my fish to live in my creative Minecraft world. Let's get right into it. So I started off by just building some pillars that are 2x2 blocks wide out of spruce logs, just to add a nice little start off to the entrance of the cave, because it ain't looking too good right now. Then I tried out some weathering, didn't like it, and decided to add some slabs and stairs to the bottom of the water, just for some detail, before adding some granite frame for a wool cover to the wooden pillars. This is just to add a nice kind of fantasy look to it a little bit. Not really though, I don't know. I know though, it looked pretty nice in my opinion, and in the future if I ever want to modify this build, I can always change the color. So it's a nice little thing for customizability. Then I went on the inside, covered up the frame a little bit more just to make everything look nice, made some adjustments to the cover to make it look more like a cloth, and then made a little wall between two of the pillars just to add a little bit more depth and detail to it. Covered that wall with some fences. Okay. Now I went to the back since I didn't know what to do with the front anymore, and I did a little bit of terraforming, just a tad bit. Then I added some lighting. This is temporary just for some building, but it ended up sticking a little. And I added another pillar in the middle, or inside of the cave I mean, and covered that with some wool, and then added some more pillars, pillars, just so that it looks like the cave actually has some support so it wouldn't fall over itself over time, and again, more just depth and detail. Now I start working on the exit of the cave and some more terraforming, just like I did in the front. I checked out some things with one of the pillars, ended up not really liking it that much, took it down, and added another cover in the back with the granite frame and everything. The granite frame really helps get the shape of the cloth that I'm looking for. In a survival world, I wouldn't do this, of course, because just the wool, it isn't that good. Well, it's hard to get, I mean. And I had to do some more terraforming. Just a bit. Now I add lights all around to make it easier for building, and start working on the inside of the cave, making all the terrain look nice. Then I add a little bit of wall between two pillars in the front, since I want the water level in the cave to be higher, so it's kind of like a little dam. And then I put glass so that I have somewhere to actually put the water, so it doesn't take me 1,000 years. I will have to break this glass in the future. As you can see, it does take a while, but in the time lapse it's very short. And now you see me putting in all the water. After this, I go under the water, use some sponges to clear everything out, and then I start going into terraforming and making the whole underwater section clay. Then I start adding some stone pieces after this, which, it was very simple, just to make it look semi not man-made, I still want it to look natural, but very clean. The reason I use clay is because it has nice texture to it. It's very soft, but not too soft. Then I go in with some cobblestone to make it look a little weathered, because water does that. Finally add some shroom lights just for the lighting, because, you actually want to be able to see the fish going into the pool. Now I take away all the glass. After this, I start going into more terraforming around the cave, making everything into stone instead of grass. After that's done, I also add some more wool around places just so that, I have no idea. It just looked a lot better. Then I add some leaves to really sell the idea of a lush cave. Just some greenery. It looks like the nature is calling into the little hideout. Keeps the place looking busy, but not too busy. Also, it's very simple. I recommend doing this to your builds. I actually got this idea from a build I made a while ago, like years ago, around the beginning of COVID, right before COVID happened. It was a little cave survival world, full survival. It was in Bedrock Edition, but I was still playing like it was hardcore, and I ended up dying after like a week or two. Now I'm going to start adding the fish and axolotls. What I did not know though is that axolotls actually kill the fish, so that kind of weirded me out for a while. But I started terraforming again, adding another wall with the fences. The fences really add nice depth to all the walls that I add. Then I'm like, I feel like I had too much fish, so I added another axolotl, this time on purpose. Then I tried some stuff with the outer walls, and it took me a few things to find out what I actually liked. I ended up staying with some granite and some granite fences, though a lot of this does end up changing, and I add a whole other platform outside of just this wall, more depth, so some of it gets covered up. As you can see, which I actually started doing right now. I started higher level, but ended up going right on the sea level and mistake some blocks, but it's gonna end up okay in the end because I end up fixing it all and then add some more pillars, and wool, of course. I'm gonna stop talking about adding the wool. Now I added another wall, some fences again, and now some pillars. I couldn't decide if I wanted to go with 2x2 pillars or 1x1 pillars, but I ended up staying with the 2x2 because it really just makes the build look bigger than it actually is. But I only used the 2x2 for one pillar. The rest I used 1x1. So still looks bigger, but has the functionality of the 1x1. Then back to terraforming. Now I start actually making those pillars go to the bottom of the water and have walls so that nothing's actually going to get behind those pillars. No one can hide behind there. And eventually, with those fence walls, I end up having to go behind the fences and actually make it so that you can't see through it, because I didn't want to hide behind the failed part of the build that didn't look that good, or at least as good as I liked it. Then I tried to add some shroom lights, took them away, they weren't the best, and added some torches instead. I really need to improve my lighting skills. Right now they're very subpar. And then finally started working on the back. I actually do not like how the back turned out. I think I could have done a lot better than this, but I wanted to do this in a timely manner because I have guests at my house and I actually don't have that much time recording this. But I just added some decorations with stairs and slabs to really give the granite and spruce feel. Then I tried to make, and it would be like a platform that would go down into it. You'll see that pretty soon in the time lapse. I ended up actually deleting that though. I didn't like how it looked, but I feel like what I ended up with may have looked worse. But I really can't decide. You put that down in the comments below if you're still watching by this point. Also, if you're still watching by this point, props to you. Really makes me happy. And you can see me making the platform right here. I ended up taking that all down. Yeah. The reason I also ended up taking it all down is because of functionality. While it looked okay, it wasn't functional. I realized it would just drop down. And I didn't feel like terraforming enough to really make this little hole that goes into the cave a lot bigger. If I had the time, I may have done that though. But I also don't have the patience for that if I did at the time, which is why it's a maybe. I'll stop ranting now. Now you'll see I start off making a stairway up. The stairway's made out of slabs. I feel like slabs just give a lot smoother of a drop down, and to outline the slabs, there's just some spruce logs again. You know, just add a little bit of detail, not too much. And then again, with the back, you'll see in a bit, I ended up putting some ladders, not ladders, walls, in between the slabs. Again, didn't like how that ended up looking that much. I toyed around with the materials though, so I found something that looked okay, I guess. Still, not the best though. If you have any suggestions, leave it in the comments. And now, I'm toying with the lighting that I'll show off camera. You get the final build. I use cinematic camera for this. You go into it, all the torches out of place, but at least all the fish look pretty nice. The leaves look pretty nice. I use jungle leaves because they just really look a lot more lush. And then you see the stairway, how I ended up with it. Yeah, I think overall the build's okay. I'd give it like a 6, 7 out of 10 and how good it is. And I really think with only like a week or two of trying to start building, anyone could build something of this level. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.